Hi, it's Vicky here in Whitlash, Montana. Beginning of a video is always kind of funny because you're like, how do you introduce it? Well, here it is, me, just me. Um, so my mom's birthday was February 22nd, and she passed away on November 24th of 2022. So every time her birthday rolls around in February, the last couple of years, I get really sentimental about it. And this year I was thinking that it would have been so awesome to have a video of her just talking. I've got a lot of pictures and stuff, but I don't have videos of her really. And I thought, what, it'd be so neat just to sit and listen to her talk. She would be just telling stories and stuff. And I thought, I think maybe I'm going to do that. For I don't know if anybody ever is going to want to watch them. My kids will, or my grandkids, or friends or family. I don't know. If nobody ever watches it, that's fine. So I'm a video. Excuse me. I am a journal keeper, and so I love to keep a journal, write down my thoughts, my feelings, and just kind of the daily happenings. And I thought instead of writing it today I'm going to video it. Um, and the thing about this video, it's going to be very unprofessional. It is not edited. It's not filtered. It's just me. This is what I look like. This is me in my Nate Bargatze sweatshirt that I decided to wear today. Nothing fancy. I have a head cold, so my, a little snuffy. But, we live in this world of AI where nothing's real, everything's filtered. Nobody wants to be their true, authentic self. So this is maybe just a little something different. Um, let's see. Full disclosure, a few years ago, I decided I was going to start this YouTube channel. And so it was going to kind of be my life in the Sweetgrass Hills because I thought, interesting way to live, interesting life, but it's actually really cheesy. And I've thought about taking it down a few times, but it's still up. It's called the Culgen Chronicles because Culgen being our last name. Um, oh my goodness. Sometimes do you ever like think back of stuff that you had this bright idea and it's actually kind of cringy? Oh, that's my old YouTube channel. This is probably cringy too, but that's okay. I really don't care because I don't know if anybody's ever actually going to see it. I'm, probably share it with my family, but anyway, like I said, my mom's birthday makes me sentimental. I think about her a lot. Um, she, how she was raised, actually, I know had a huge influence on how I was raised, and so, um, how she raised us, her childhood impacted that a lot. She was born in 1941, was right at the end of the Great Depression, and World War II was still going on. She was raised in northern Minnesota around the Bemidji, Bagley, Blacktuck area. Her family was really poor. I mean, like um, tar paper shack. Poor. Her dad was kind of a transient worker. They had, I think she was one of six kids. Um, and yeah, so I mean, they were so poor that, hand-me-down clothes, they were not always clean. They would have had mice running through the house. Her mom was not a tidy person, so everything was dirty. They would have been the kids that went to school with lice in their hair. Um, we've all gone to school with people like that. We encounter people in those situations, and we all have our judgments about them. Um, and knowing that was her background, she really strove to raise us differently. She was very clean, very tidy. She loved to have beautiful things, and she never, even in her adult life, the times that she was poor, she made sure that people did not know that we were poor. Really, we may have worn hand-me-down clothes, not the greatest style, but she always made sure things were clean, things were patched. Yeah, she was a good mom. She definitely, looking back at my childhood, I think, oh gosh, um, wish things had been different, but I understand why she did the things she did, why she raised us the way she did, why she was so incredibly protective, was all because of the way she was raised. When she was 15 years old, she was married off to a man who was 26 years old. Apparently, she had, I don't know how they met, but she ended up dating this man with my grandmother's encouragement, and ended up being married off to him at 15 years old, which to me is horrifying. I mean, that's literally a child bride. I have a 16-year-old daughter, and I cannot even imagine getting married, especially to a 26-year-old man. She went, members, taking all of her possessions out to her new home with this man in a grocery sack. Everything she owned in a paper sack. Went to live with this man. He still lived with his mother. He was a mama's boy, verbally abusive. I'm assuming that he was also physically abusive. The mother-in-law was verbally abusive as well. Not a good way to start out your life. She lived with him for a while. I think they were married 6 years. At some point during their marriage, she convinced him to let her move out. She moved into, I think it was Black Duck, Minnesota, into town. She took a job as a waitress and had her own little house, or her own little apartment. I'm sure it wasn't anything fancy. For the first time in her life, earned enough money to buy herself some nice clothes, decent clothes, and kept her little space clean, lived her little life. Her husband allowed it on the stipulation that she would just not divorce him, and so she didn't. She was content to be single, but keep married, I guess. While she was working at that little cafe, she met my dad. They were friends for a couple of years before they fell in love, and ran off and got married. She ended up getting a divorce. They went to Mexico. She got a divorce and married my dad. They ended up in the Swan Valley in northwestern Montana. Bought a little piece of property in the 70s, and that's where they started their life with me, and ended up me and my sisters. I have 3 sisters, and we were raised there. Mom lived there for 50, I think it was 53 years maybe, on that little piece of property in the Swan Valley, and raised her family there. She moved here to Whitlash right in the middle of COVID in 2020, where I was living with my husband. And she, through life circumstances, ended up moving here into a little house across the road from my house with my developmentally delayed sister, Valerie. And so I got to spend the last probably year and a half of her life having her live next door to me, which was actually really nice. um, getting to spend that little bit of extra time with her. Um, the day that she passed away, it was Thanksgiving morning. So probably the last couple of weeks I had been sick, and I hadn't seen her a whole lot. I had strep throat, and I knew I was contagious. And since I think I'm, too tough for doctors, I never went to the doctor and get an antibiotic or anything. So I had kind of suffered away with this strep throat. So I hadn't spent a lot of time with her, which I feel bad about. My visits with her were really brief. I'd go to work, swing by her place after work, spend maybe 10 minutes because I didn't want to infect her. She hadn't been feeling well, had just been to the doctor the week before. She had kind of ongoing heart problems. She'd had a heart attack a number of years before, had a pacemaker, so she had gone to her heart doctor. Um, I guess they hadn't found anything unusual, but she wasn't feeling well, and I didn't want to make her more sick. So the last time I saw her was the day before Thanksgiving, and I had said, "Hey, Mom, I'll call you in the morning. We'll make a plan for Thanksgiving, and we'll just kind of decide what we're going to do." She said, "Okay, sounds good. I love you. We'll talk to you tomorrow." Well, the next morning, Thanksgiving morning, I got up, kind of was going about my business, sitting, having my coffee, and my niece got a hold of me. It was probably 9 o'clock in the morning, and she said, "Hey, have you checked on Grandma? I talked to her yesterday. She just didn't sound good, and I was kind of worried about her." And I thought, well, she's fine. I'm sure she's fine, but I'll give her a call. She always got up early, 6 or 7 o'clock. So it was 9 o'clock. Gave her a call. She never answered the phone, which was really strange. And since my sister who lives with her is developmentally delayed, she's nonverbal. She has some mobility issues, so she would not have answered the phone if there was a problem. So I went over to her house, walked over, knocked, no answer. Had the key to her house, so I let myself in, and I saw that my sister Valerie was still in bed, which was very strange, 9 o'clock in the morning, because when my mother gets up, Valerie gets up. And so knowing that Valerie was still in bed, that meant my mom wasn't up. Went into my mom's bedroom, and I saw her kneeling by the side of her bed. I could see that her bed was still neatly made, but her covers had been pulled back the night before. She was kneeling on this little stool that my older sister Pam had made for her to aid her in getting in and out of bed as she got older, because she really liked to have a tall bed. So she had this little stool. Well, apparently she would kneel on the stool at night and say her prayers. So she was kneeling on this stool like this in a prayer position. I called out to her, "Mom, it's Vicky. Are you okay?" She didn't respond to me, but I could tell, kind of by the color of her skin and the fact she wasn't moving, she wasn't breathing, I knew she had passed away in that position. So I got my sister Valerie out of bed, got her dressed, called emergency services, got a hold of my husband, and just sat there in the quiet of the house. And, as sad as it is to lose somebody, to see how she passed, kneeling at the side of her bed, praying to God, and then in the next instant, probably being face to face with Him, is there's no more beautiful way to pass away than that. And so I'm very grateful, very thankful that that's how she passed. But like I said, on her birthday, February 22nd, I do start getting very sentimental, start thinking about her. I do really miss her. uh, as flawed as she was a beautiful person. She brought a lot of joy and beauty into the world. Uh, and so, sitting here thinking about my own life and how we all want to connect with other people, and kind of want to leave a little something of ourselves for the next generation. So here's my video, my little video journal, and I think I'm going to keep doing this. Instead of doing my written journal, I'm going to keep doing my video journal, and as I get confident and brave, I might share it with my friends and family and anybody else that might come along and watch it. And like I said, if nobody else ever watches it, that's fine. Anyway, so there you have it, and I will talk to you later. Hope everybody has a beautiful, wonderful day and can look at all of the wonderful things we have to be grateful for in this world. Bye.